Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're getting ready for Splatoon 2 on Nintendo Switch. New Game Plus with LiamGiiV. Liam, how you doing today?
Good, good. It's actually 2-5. It's a
Awesome. So we've had a bit of a last-minute scare there, but actually made it. So, and I'm glad you did, because I'm really excited to see the Splatoon 2 run. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Splatoon 2 speedrun, I know a lot of people play the multiplayer, but the single player is actually really good. And yeah, we're going to see some inklings going around, swinging around some paint. And we're going to be ready whenever you are, Liam. So we're going to do some final adjustments, and we'll get going in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
Sounds great. So I'm good whenever. I'm good whenever. All right, so I'll on go from 3. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, let's do this. Okay, so this is Splatoon 2. As I was introduced, most people think of this as like a competitive online game, but it actually has a pretty vibrant speedrunning community behind it. Most people who've seen this game speedrun before are probably familiar with the any % run. But the new Game Plus run is a little bit different. One of the things that's different about it is that we actually start the game with the last boss. So, and with my road, I actually finished with the first level. So we're kind of playing the game backwards. Alrighty. So this is DJ Octavio. If I could actually get the volume in my headset down just a touch, that'd be handy. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is DJ Octavio. We call him in the community DJ RNG. It's the only significant element of the speedrun that is heavily affected by RNG. Depending upon how Octavio is feeling on any given day, you can be on world record pace, or you can be completely boned. Which is why we do them first. Just for the pleasure of doing the resets. So there's going to be 4 phases to the fight, roughly speaking. We just went through the first one. 49 seconds is actually a really good time. I didn't get the dreaded shower, which you might see a little later. But yeah, Octavio is both an octopus and a DJ. This will be the first of many octopus and squid puns. So the reason why there's so much RNG involved in this first part of the run is that, as you've seen, I can only hit Octavio during certain attacks, and depending upon whether or not he's willing to be hit will affect the progress of this run. All right, this is the dreaded shower. We didn't get one in phase 1, so that's good, but it takes a long time and is useless, and we hate him for it. All right, just a little bit about me while we're waiting for Octavio to allow us to finish this fight. Speedrunning is fun. I'm also a musician and a game-making person, and today, if you donate $10, I believe is the number, we got an incentive that says you can get a copy of the last game I was composing and doing audio. It's called It's You Breakup Story, so check that out. Get free video games, donate to a good cause. Oops. I'd like to thank NoReset for having me out, even though I gave the organizers a heart attack by not having a phone number. I thought I was a cool tech industry dude, and I learned today that I was actually just being a selfish jerk. So I apologize to everybody over the last month or so where I decided I would be a cool tech dude and not have a phone number. I am going to fix this. Okay. So you don't have to worry about me skipping any of the dialogue or the cutscenes or anything like that. This game doesn't really have a plot. To a limited sense, there's some like Splatoon lore, but it's mostly that the lore is that there are squids and they're also kids, and they like ink. This is a Nintendo shooter where you don't shoot anybody, so that's fun. So there's a very slight manipulation in this section of the run, where if you stay on the outside rail, the third rail will appear at some point just inside these two rings, and all you have to do is stay on the outside, and you usually can get a slightly faster cycle. But because of the RNG nightmare that is DJ Octavio, depending upon how quickly this fellow wants to cycle through the different moves and his relative position on screen, you can even sometimes not get the manipulation. So, what are you gonna do? Yeah, so we just didn't get it there. That's fine. So this would be like the reset point of the run. A 5:25 or 5:30 or whatever this is going to be is actually a pretty good time now. All right. There you go. So Splatoon 2's got this fantastic in-game timer with these nice little title cards that make exporting your Twitch clips to YouTube really handy. We're on to 25. Platform meta, so you need a charger and curler. Having an in-game timer wasn't part of Splatoon 1, and I think it's one of the reasons why there's so much activity, especially in the individual level section of this speed. Because it's easy for you and the kids at home to speedrun too. Oh, bad angle there, that's fine. Oops. A little safety here. Okay, that's good, I didn't die. As is the case in a lot of games, dying is extremely slow. Oh. Okay, so the cycle here will be off, so we're off book right now. We're improvising. Boy, are we improvising. Okay. That's no good. We will play it safe. So I just broke my armor there by being shot. And in addition to being sad because you are playing badly, you also slow down when your armor is broken, which is bad for speedrunning. because you're going slower, but also because all of a sudden all your strats do not apply anymore. There we go. Gonna shoot that guy for being a jerk. All right, get up there. There you go. So one of the things that's stressful about this route is I'm starting World 5. So the very beginning of the speed run is the absolute hardest part of it. I'd be interested to see what my pulse is right now. Come here, fishy. Okay. So we're moving on to Transfer Junction. Number 24, Charger and Curler. So everybody has their own candidate for hardest level. For me, this is it. Oop. So, one of the things I promised myself today is I would try all of the danger strats at least once. And I figure, what's the point in doing a big fancy speedrun marathon if I don't have the opportunity to show off some of the best moves of the game and just play everything super safe. So that was an example of a extremely high risk, very little reward strat back there that got me killed. This is another one of those. Come on. There we go. Okay, there's a cool strat here that I've not ever pulled off, but it's no risk. I didn't get it. Okay, so there's a way that you can get up on that platform there that was shown off by the Japanese runner Y-Dash. And you can peel off a couple seconds if you get it. There's no risk in taking it, which is very different than a lot of the key strats in Splatoon. Ooh. So I'm not going to get the first cycle there because I got shot. Oop. That's too bad. Okay, well, we'll take another shot at that. One of the things that can be troublesome about running this game is the aiming of your opponents. That, for the most part, they will reliably not hit you. But every now and then, you get a sharpshooter AI opponent. There we go. Who, for whatever reason, on this run, decided to make a squid soup out of you. Even though in 99% of your other runs, they just never even shoot. So I've got my motion controls set on extreme. There's a bit of debate in the community about what the best settings are, but for the most part, it's always whichever you go fastest with. And I find the high sensitivity is a little works better for me. All right, 27. The dualies and the splat bomb. All right, we're gonna see our first weapon change here. Switching to the dualies, they give you a cool little roll, so you can roll around at the speed sound for just a little tiny bit in each match. This is a type of level where we're fighting, octolings. A lot of people really dread these when they're playing casually. But for the speed run, they're actually not so bad, because they're some of the faster levels. Oh, that splat bomb almost took me out. There you go. Okay. If it looks like Total Chaos, it also feels like Total Chaos. Oh, we're going to the Octo Galaxy, level 23, dualies and splat bomb. Let's just concentrate on this for a second. All right, so I'd like to give a few recognition to my fellow runners who've been helping me prepare for this, especially Ian, Talentron Ian, who's the second place record holder for this category. Oh, that's a mistake. Let's just call it what it is. And the other fellow I'd like to give thanks to is Captain Hydrus, who doesn't actually run New Game Plus, but he's got several individual level records for the mode. Oops. And those two fellows especially have been exceedingly helpful over the last little while, helping me learn the run. Currently, I have the 10th place time in the world. I peaked at 8th, but then some of the longer time runners came back and started speedrunning again because there's a little bit more activity in the category, which is a good thing, even if I'm a little sour about it. But I will regain the lofty station of 8th at some point. Okay. I like to not shoot this guy, even though it's risky. I can actually kill you and saves no time. I don't know why I do these things to myself. There you go, pretty colors. All right, we're going to the level 22 Underground Express, I think. Dualies, splat bombs. Underground Express, right? Hey, it's me. There you go, invisible floors. Towards the end of the game as played, they get really fancy with some of the mechanics, like using invisible floors and whatnot. But it's one of the funny things about playing the game in reverse order. that we see all the crazy mechanics first in this run, and later the game gets simple. Sweet. There's this whole labyrinth of invisible platforms over there. If you don't shoot that guy, the type of enemy whose name I don't know, Helmet Lord, let's call him. Grind that guy up. I missed a close little manipulation there that will turn him around. He's got like a windscreen, which of course blocks ink. Because logic. Oh no, my shield. Oh, I'm not dead, it's fine. These are acceptable losses. So that is the curler, which we use for the majority of the run. It's fast because it is fast and has a long line of ink. These guys are called squeegees and are without a doubt the worst part of the run. This guy's just gotten stuck on the corner. There's really nothing you can do about this. There's things you can do to help prevent this, but there's nothing you can do to stop it. The only thing really for it is perfect setups every time. If you can, they do behave dependably or predictably if you know the initial circumstances, but we have long since lost that. Oh, this is every bit as chaotic as it looks. Get me out of here. All right. Under 26. We're gonna bust out the hero shot. So the hero shot is a version of the basic weapon that you use in the game, but it's just super powered. If you could use it during play, you would obliterate everybody because you have infinity ink, a crazy fire rate, and it does more damage. But luckily for you, you can play against people in single player using it because of Nintendo's lax to non-existent anti-hacking protections. So Nintendo, if you're listening, your competitive community would like for you to moderate a little more strongly. Okay, so I have a wonderful habit here of dying, and that's a problem because it means I lose this special, the Ink Storm, or whatever, Ink Storm, which I need for the next section. I didn't die, so that's good. It's very good. So we're going to throw the Ink Storm down here, and as the ink rains, it's going to hit that taiko drum-like thing. My timing's a little off, so I'm not going to rush so I don't get swooshed. All right, cool. That was Paradise Lanes. All right, we're going to jump to World 2 now, and you'll probably get to see me relax quite a bit. And we're going to Spinning Campground. I'd like to give thanks to all the super fans out there who've supported me and my silly fascination with fast-moving squids. Bill and Brad and Octogal and there you go. Got one of those. That's a fun zip. And Potato Man. Twitch usernames are funny because these are all real people. I didn't hit it. It's okay. I got one zip, so that's fine. If you do that properly, like I did the zip on the second little roll-up thing there, you move all the way down that ramp in a very exciting fashion. Hooray, not dead. Okay. Oh, that's bad. Okay. Crisis abated. And up we get. All right, we're on to the boss of World 2. Showdown. So when you play this casually, the game forces you to use the roller. It's a roller that you would paint the wall with, and it is this long, drawn-out thing that you're fighting with this samurai, and it's supposed to be like a sword bout. But in New Game Plus, we get to bring whatever weapon we want to fight. So this is essentially that scene from Indiana Jones, where the fella at the marketplace does all these fancy moves, and then our boy Indy just plugs him from across the alleyway. So in this way, there you go, that's 1 second off my PB. What is supposed to be a pretty dramatic fight is over in less than a minute. Okay, back out the cleanup, dualies, curler. One of the things that I really love about this game is how good the music is. So I'd like to give a shout out to the tech crew here running this marathon. The headset is actually really high quality. The overall response is a lot more dynamic than I was expecting just looking at the thing. Also, usually when I play at home, I stream, I don't use a headset, and the music is often, really bad. Music I often can't hear very well. Oh, that was really close. So it's actually nice to hear some of these tracks in the higher fidelity. It's funny that a game that I play in part because I love the music, I don't actually get to hear the music for very well. That's bad. All right. Audible. Okay. Okay. There will be no survivors this platoon. All right. Off to the races. So this is a bit of a treat. Okay. Been a little too aggressive with that fellow. Come on, pick a side. Take a stance. Yeah, those squeegees are a nightmare. And we're gonna have to deal with another one right here. This section's not so bad though. Onward to victory. No. Behave. Ran out of ink. That's embarrassing. You're not supposed to do that in this game. Okay. Off to number 5, the Octopark. So this level is one of my favorites, for sure. So this skip here, we're going to jump over that balloon. This skip is called... accidentally get killed. The skip's called Cool Skip. Because it is a cool skip. There we go. Usually that doesn't happen. There we go. Those little rolls on the rail there don't actually speed you up that much, but it's important to get your APM up. All right, that's called Nollie Skip. It's named after the speedrunner who pioneered it in their world record run for this IL. Nollie. Nollie's a fine fellow. You can hit him up on Twitter and he'll teach you how to do the skip. That's what he did for me. When you do it right, the Nollie skip doesn't really look like much, but what it is you're jumping higher than you're normally supposed to be able to using a physics boost that I don't think was intended by the developers twice. And so as a result, there's no like animation or there's no like visual or auditory feedback for when you're doing it correctly. And so it's one of those like turn off the radar, shoot by field kind of things. And so just by looking at it, you would think you'd just go up the rail and you go, whee, and then that's it. But if you try to do that, you will endlessly fail forever. Okay. Let's see if I can get one of these. 0 for 2. So there's a type of roll that I'm trying to do, where you intersect with the bundle of what's called linoleum in this game. This game loves a cheat pun. And if you do it right, You shoot it forward. I didn't get it. Oh, well, that's fine. You fire the linoleum forward and then roll onto the other side of it just as it's moving. And then the game needs to do something with you. And so it just forcibly ejects you. And you have like the momentum properties of a squid that's rolling, but crazy speed. And so you slide around, all fun. It's like you're on skates for a second. That's not gonna do it. That hurt. I think those enemies are called octo-hurlers. There you go. That was a pretty good Enter the Octo-hurler. I didn't get any of the linoleum rolls or launches or whatever. I don't know that there's actually a name for them. I think people have just been calling them linoleum rolls, but that's boring. We, as a community, have really boring names for all the skips and whatnot, and so I've been trying to come up with better ones for them. So if you have any silly ideas for what any of these techniques could be called, pitch in. I'd love to hear from you. So far, the best suggestion for that I've heard is a reviewer named Mad Bad Dogs. He said we should call it the Coconut Cowboy, which is a horrible name. But it's the best I've heard, so we can do better. There you go. The AI doesn't always do that. There was an Octoling that went next to the mini Zapfish. Which meant that they got blown up as collateral. Oh, yeah, I'm busted. Okay. One of the things that's nice about those levels of Speedrun is even when you blow them, even when you ruin them very horribly like that, you only end up picking up in a couple extra seconds. So like a very good Octoling workout, or whatever the name of that stage was, Octoling Strike, would have been like a 44, like a 43. So ending up with like a 50 is not so bad. So this is a level that Captain Hydrus just recently grabbed the world record for the individual. So the Charger is weapon who shots you. Everybody now, charge. And when you charge them, the shots go further, put down more ink, and propel these, everybody now, propellers, a little bit further than they would normally. And the default is to usually just wail on everything, right? Full power. But you can go faster if you do partial charges, which is hard. Because sort of like the nollie skip, there isn't really an obvious like sign in the game's UI that's what's happening. All right, this is what's called Stingray Skip. There's a whole part to this level that we're just not going to do because playing the video game is slower than not playing the video game. So between the, there's another skip there where you saw me firing into blinding light. This is called the Captain. We're off to World 3, level 11. The Floating Garden Charger Curler. usually I use my splits on my computer to keep track of the order of the levels and which weapons I'm using, just to make sure. So I've got it written out on a notebook here today, just so I don't accidentally not actually run the entire game for you. That'd be an amazing way to get a world record, is just not to do a few of the levels. It's too bad. We'll get him. So a lot of my viewers will make fun of me because I'm actually a horrible shot with the charger, and they'll marvel at how it is that I can play the game so fast and yet not manage to actually shoot anything. Because you would think play a game fast, good at shooting, right? But really, it's more of like those like tricky billiards guys, where they're always like setting up cups, and you know they can't play billiards unless they have 6 sets of balls or whatever. There's like 40 or so shots I know how to make. That's one of them. Okay. Apparently that's not one of them, no. That is. So that's actually a harder shot than the first one that I missed in this little section. That's pretty typical for me, to miss the easy shot and make the harder one. I missed it. All right, that's called the skip with no name. We couldn't come up with a name for it, so we just took a leaf out of the Western book. It doesn't save that much time, and it's risky. It's actually a lot harder than it looks. It seems like, yeah, don't you just swim to the corner and jump off the thing? Oh, I shot his balloon, but not him. There's one of these guys is a key. There you go. Use some turf war strats. That could have gotten way out of hand. But the placement of the lamppost there on the corner is actually not quite like flush. Lips for days, 3B. Oops. So it's very misleading if you're trying to actually, I don't know, like look at the game to figure out when you need to jump. So you actually need to jump on a weird angle that's not quite 45 degrees. That's not quite where the post is, which is the only thing you can see. And you also need to jump after your squid has left the platform. Because of the way that the ink mechanics work in this game, like the ink is kind of like a fluid on top of the actual stage. Please. There we go. Just pleading with the boss. So you actually have to jump for the skip with no name after you've already left the ground. So it's very bizarre. It's a bunch of stuff that you're probably not used to doing in the game. There we go. Anyways, it's a very long explanation. Of something that's not that interesting. Okay. Got out of that one. All right, we've got another charger level coming up called Dancing Floors. keep limber. It's always important to stretch. This is the level where I admitted that I was a trash charger player and needed to learn how to play properly in order to do the speedrun. So, the emotional significance of that for me in this level. Okay. So that's another one of those things where, even though it's not the safest way to do it, if you can get this in one cycle, it's very fast. Obviously, it's faster than doing it too, but you can't shoot the big turret-looking guy. And you have to go up the set of drawers at a very odd time. But I figured I would try it for you fine folks on the internet. Oh, this usually doesn't happen, but they gave me a straightaway there. I don't know what those enemies are called. To me, the ink coming out of the bottom of them has always kind of looked like spaghetti. Oops. Okay. Blindness by squid. Cool. All right. On to level 10, Octoseeker. This is a fun little trick here. Jump on the sponge, ink the sponge. Away you go. It's faster than swimming. So in this speedrun, like every other, the little things matter, right? So if you want to play at a high level, you gotta find optimizations for every situation. And one of the things that really adds up in this game is what I call tournament winners. It's a term that I borrowed from Smash Bros. If you've never played Smash, you know a tournament winner is when you jump from off the ledge. It's called that. Not because it wins the tournament for you, but because it wins the tournament for your opponent, because it's just like a bad movement option. There's a pretty similar thing in Splatoon, where there's a very, very slow way to get off the ledge, or any like vertical section, and it's by jumping. All right, that guy was very cooperative. I've never actually seen that enemy do that before, but usually when people say that in a speedrun, it's like a bad thing. That was actually faster, because I actually made a slight error in that last section, but because of the way that the AI kind of got screwed up, it actually helped me. So that's never happened before. Is that a first? All right, on to 14, the parking garage. So the difficulty in the run is slowly amping up again. We started with World 5, and then we jumped all the way down to World 2, and then we're making our way back up to 4 now. So, mash, 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 yay! I call that Ian's truck skip. Talentron Ian, who is in second place in the world right now for this run, is also a master woodworker. And if you check out some of his amazing speedrun videos, in the top right-hand corner, you will see a very lovely wooden truck that he has made. Ian's is a good guy. He's a fellow Canadian. He's from Saskatchewan. Ian, if you're watching right now, go back to bed. It's so early. I hope you're not watching. Okay. There you go. Physics. Physics, please. Splatoon, please. All right. This is the laggy section of the game. Where the frame rate dies. Little quick nose itch. It's not a technique. Okay. That section there can turn into a huge disaster. So there's a lot of sections of this run where it's nice just when the game doesn't decide to send you into a barrel roll. All right. It's kind of cool to see the game up on the big screen here at the Next Level Game Con up on the projector. That's the biggest display I've ever seen Splatoon 2 on. Okay. So this is why you don't want to get your shield broken. It is very slow. Luckily, getting one of these zapfish will give you your shield back. There we go. Those boxes like to pop up in a weird spot. Sometimes they don't do it at all. All right, that was Octoling Assault. So I think the next one is Octo Resort Spring, number 12. So that was another one of those Octoling levels where casually people find those things to be a huge headache, but as you can see for the speedrun, they're actually some of the most crisp. Had enough of that rail. So this is definitely the goofiest run in the level in the run. There's a second. That's fine. away we go. Those guys can be real pain. Slightly off in the cycle. Had to call an audible. There you go. There's a whole fun section of the level we didn't play. Alright. Almost got it. Not bad. Okay. Crisis evaded. All right, on to World 4. Dooley's curler still. Okay. So my blood pressure is beginning to rise a little bit. Oops. So these Octarians, I think they're called, I usually don't bother shooting. It doesn't really take any time to deal with them, but I figure that it's like a good proof that I'm doing the game fast. If I can get through those sections with the enemies and still not get hit. Speak of the devil. So I usually don't shoot them, just as a way of keeping track of how I'm doing. So even if you don't like waste time, it's a good way to keep track of how well you're doing. This guy's a big stamp. And he killed me. Alright, let's try that again. There you go. The big stamp has a key on his back. Did I mention this game has no plot? Can you imagine that in exposition? Commander, the enemy has taken up position in the floating junk in space on the back of a giant stamp. The key to the nuclear warhead is kept. We need you to grab it and then free a stuffed fish from a light bulb. Secret bowling alley. All right, let's do this. Oop, yeah. I inked one too many times going up there, and then that got me off the righteous path, as they call it. I mean, obviously this is the case with like every speedrun, that all the maneuvers count and add up. But the routing for this game is advanced to the point where even just like holding onto the trigger for a little too long can throw you off your pace. Hey. Okay, sounds good. Will you let me know when that happens? All right, thank you. All right, sounds good. So I've just been instructed to keep commentating as though I'm not hearing voices in my head. Absolutely. This is a familiar phenomenon for the Splatoon community, though, because a lot of times we'll be streaming and playing like competitive matches, and people are doing voice chat in Discord or whatnot. But see, you're playing with me because I don't know what they can hear, what they can't. On to 18, towering on its. Yeah, they are all watching me. I don't know my secrets. I learned all my secrets from Ian. What do you say? I'm a stubborn person to a fault sometimes. One of the things I like to do when speedrunning is refuse to look at the record runs before I put together my own idea of what the route should be. Because I figure if I don't, I will never get the chance to. So I want candy too. Oh, sound tech people. Are you the tech? Who am I hearing? Okay, there's probably a lot of strangers behind the curtain. I kind of arrived a little late, so I both don't know what's behind the curtain or anyone who's here. So, yeah, I wouldn't have been late if I was on time. It's true. I don't have any excuses, but if anyone's keeping score, I blame the TTC. Just classic Toronto reference. Okay, so this is the auto scroll section of the game, if there could be said to be one. We're on this platform until the game decides that we're not. That's fine. It's not hard.
Hey, Liam.
Hey, what?
By the way, I just want to point out that to everyone in chat watching, wondering what the hell is going on in his head, he's experiencing a very Lovecraftian situation. He's hearing, you know, the Overlord talking to him, and no one else can hear him. Okay. I just want to reassure everyone that his sanity has not been affected yet.
Not yet, not yet.
Working on it.
See, because I couldn't tell if you were like flipping back and forth between just in the monitors and on the stream. So, but see, I don't know whether or not the last thing you said was actually heard live either.
What last thing I said?
Exactly. No way of knowing. The psychological trauma is not one of the characteristics of this run normally. Maybe trauma is too strong a word. All right, we're on to 21. Ocklings ahoy. I'm hungry too. I'm hungry. Candy's good. Nothing's more nutritious than candy. So that Julie roll there is something I came up with. There might be other runners who do it too. I don't know. I've not looked at the individual levels for this. As I said, I'm kind of stubborn about that thing. I figure if I ever get into a position where I need a few extra seconds in order to make top 5 or whatever, I could start worrying about that stuff. But for now, I'm happy to just play my own Squid Game my own way.
Kind of like Harvey's, man. Have it your way.
Sure.
Speaking
58
of
seconds.
food, every time I watch a Splatoon 2 run, I really feel like having sushi for some reason.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is this your first Splatoon 2 run, or are you?
At NoReset, I believe so, yes.
That's cool. It's fun. I think that it's colorful. The music's good. Crazy things happen. It doesn't need to make sense.
But
I
it's
think-
great to watch. It's
Yeah.
great to watch. Like tech-wise, like you said, it's colorful. It's a very, like, it's a feel-good game.
It's a feel-good game. I think one of the things that Splatoon 2's got going for it is that it looks fast when you're doing it fast. You know, with our everybody's favorite speedrun game, we know about that weird zip, and it's the coolest when you see it happen. But I think for a lot of people who are unfamiliar with the run of your favorite speedrun game, won't know why your character is twitching back and forth, left and right, slowly for 15 seconds before disappearing, and then the level is done, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I love that kind of stuff too. But I think one of the things that's nice about the run of Splatoon 2 is when I'm doing well, everyone can tell.
Well, some of the skips and the movement's really, really nice. Ever since the first one, even I remember seeing this game for the first time. I hadn't played Splatoon yet. It was like, you know, the multiplayer and everything didn't really appeal to me, and I didn't really know about the single-player campaign. And then I saw a run of it, and I'm like, oh, damn! Like, now I understand why people run this. Like the movement mechanics and everything, they all come together nicely.
Yeah,
It's
for
a
sure.
great game.
Yeah, at its core, Splatoon is a game about moving. And that makes for a really interesting shooter as well. And when you factor in the fact that it's like a team-based shooter, it's really compelling. I find anyways. 'Cause usually the decider of victory is not necessarily who's the best shot, because it's a Nintendo game. You don't actually ever get any points for shooting anybody. So the game really has to do with like more of where you are and the territory you're manipulating than
And also the percentage of the surface, the area that your team's covered in their game versus the other team.
yeah. There's in the competitive thing, there's like a bunch of different game modes, but none of them are about who can get the most no scopes per headshot.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a shooter where no one shoots anybody. Thanks, Nintendo. You'll ruin that too. Okay. So this is the only level in the game that's going to use the Splatling gun. Another clever squid pun. See if you can unpack that one. Okay. And a splat bomb. There you go. So this is one of these levels where taking the time to switch to Splatling is just slightly not as long as the time you save from using it. If I said that right. But because it is just slightly faster, you have to learn how to use the Splatling properly to do this run. Quite frankly, I'm a fan of that because of the variety. Just in case anybody is not sure, New Game Plus is definitely the best Splatoon 2 run. As I said before, most people will be familiar with 80%, if they are familiar with speedrunning in Splatoon at all. But New Game Plus is the best for a simple reason, in that it's faster. People who are playing 80% are choosing to go slow by playing the game longer, which is not the stated purpose. So get on that, guys. But yeah, beyond an extraordinarily mild teasing, I think New Game Plus is cool because the routing and the weapon selection options give you. That will take it. That's a fun little trick. I'll have to check the replay to figure out what happened there. Because there's this little. That's horrible. There's this little armored dude named Sheldon in the world of Splatoon, who will tell you what weapons you need to use for the first time through, and some of them are just brutal. And slow. Come on. Come to Pappy. Yep. Okay. The squeegees are just horrible. All right, we've only got 4 levels left. We're on to World 1. For those of us who are here in person, there's going to be a quick moment of silence for Remembrance Day. It's November 11th right now, and it is typical at 11 to take a moment of silence, which I've been told that I don't have to do for stream, but I will observe it. I would normally stand for the anthem, but I'll remain seated for the sake of motion controls. I think hero shot level 2. I think that old Lizzie will forgive me this one time. Coming up at the end of the run, 2 levels left. We're doing World 1 in reverse order. The wrong sub-weapon selected. There's a tournament winner. You're not supposed to do those. I just did one. I think they're reading in Flanders Fields. Gotta say that music to Splatoon 2 is a very bad accompaniment for in Flanders Fields. So there's very few times where you'll actually use the specials in the speedrun, and this is, I think, one of 3. Use the splash now. Some bad luck there. Usually that guy doesn't get tossed away on the wind. It happens though. All right. Off the sponge. Oops. Said I'd try all the hard stuff at least once. Okay, so this is coming up on the end of the run here. Oops, I did that wrong. That bonk there is a required one. All right, we're coming up on the last level of the run. Return of the Octarians, level 1. So it's been fun. I'd like to thank NoReset and Next Level Video Game Convention for having me and taking a chance on my little run. We're doing pretty good on time. The estimate was 1:30. I'm clocking in, I think, somewhere at 17 minutes and 30 seconds right now. Not so bad, but you know how these things go. I could end up having a 14-minute level 1. That'd do it. All right, it's supposed to be like that. He's gonna look the wrong way. There you go. Line him up. Too bad. Designers of this game are very clever, but sometimes I'm not sure which skips and which little exploits were intended, and which ones were not. I think that little pyramid trick with the splat bomb was intended, though. There was a skip in an earlier level that I didn't call out as we did it, which we call developer intended skip, which kind of makes it hard to call for a lot of the skips in the run as to whether or not they knew. So we're coming up on time here. When I grabbed the last Zapfish, we're out of Splatoon 2 for the day. Oops. Just coming right after the super jump. And time. All right. There you go. That's like a minute within my personal best. That's not bad. Okay, well, thanks so much for having me. Make sure to donate tons of money because people need it. And we're going to go on to the next runner. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, Liam, for coming. This was a really interesting run. Coming up next is going to be Ted with his